If you feel a man pulling away, do not chase him. Do this instead. Now, here's the thing. When a man starts pulling away, showing you less interest, perhaps he's not texting you as much, he's not calling as much, he's not asking you out, there's more and more space in between your interactions, you may start to feel anxious, nervous, uncertain, wondering to yourself, does he still love me? Does he still even like me? Does he not want me in his life? Did I do something wrong? Did I say something that offended him? What is going on? And I'm sure it's very frustrating to you in that situation, if you are, to feel that and feel those emotions of uncertainty, anxiety, sadness. And here's the thing. The emotions themselves are beautiful. And in these moments, it's very important to actually allow yourself to feel those emotions because that's your femininity, that's your heart. To allow those emotions to circulate through your system and sometimes to even let them out in powerful ways. So one thing you can do is go into your room. Me and my wife did this for many years. We learned it at a retreat we were once at. We call it awakening sessions. You could also call it an expression session. But jump on your bed or just lay in your bed and scream into a pillow. Scream into the pillow and let the emotion out. Let the anxiety out. Let the fear out, the frustration, the anger, the disappointment, the sadness. If you need to cry, let yourself cry. Because here's the thing. If you're repressing those emotions or using those emotions in a damaging way, we'll get into that in a second. But if you're repressing those emotions, you are repressing your own feminine energy, which is going to put you into masculine energy, and it's not going to allow a man to be drawn back to you. So it's not about putting it under the rug and pretending that you don't feel sad or pretending you don't feel anxious or that everything's all good and going into what I call being Miss Too Cool for School. And it's like, oh, I didn't really like him anyways, or I don't really need that connection, or, whatever. It's his loss, which, there's some positive aspects to having a mindset like that. But in those moments, you actually want to connect to your feminine energy and allow your emotions to keep flowing through you through something like the expression session where you allow the emotion to come out, you express it fully. You could also do it in your car, by the way. Scream into your car, yell, go out and punch it. If you have a punching bag, punch a punching bag if you need to, or go to a rage room or something. But allow the emotion to flow through you so that you're not suppressing it, because that's going to set you up for magnetizing a man back and or attracting a new high quality man into your life. Because either way, you're going to become a more magnetic feminine woman when you allow those emotions to keep processing. So that's one of the first big secrets of what to do when a man pulls away instead of chasing him. Now, here's the other aspect. And by the way, if you don't know me already, I'm Brody Boyd, and for over 20 years combined with my wife, Antia, we've been helping thousands of successful women all over the world to get a loving, long-term, and committed relationship. And I know this personally because this was a lot of the same principles that my wife used with me when we were in our early dating stages. And till this day, a lot of them too. So the other thing that you might do and experience when a man pulls away is you feel those emotions. You're not suppressing those emotions, you're feeling them, but you might use those emotions to do some damage. Now, I call this principle the wounded animal principle. Now, often what happens when somebody is feeling rejected or upset or angry or hurt by somebody else, and this can be man or woman, they tend to want to lash out. They tend to want to hurt the other person back. And they become what I call the wounded animal, which is like if you imagine this image of a dog in a cage and the dog has like bite marks or scratch marks because it got in a fight with another dog, and it's in this cage, and then you're coming to you want to comfort the dog, you want to pet the dog or give it a treat, and instead the dog lashes out at you and it starts barking or it bites you. That's what happens to a lot of people when they're wounded and when they go through a hurtful situation or when they have somebody who's pulling away or who has rejected them or said some hurtful things or done some hurtful things. So you don't want to become the wounded animal, because that's only going to push somebody further away, and that's not going to be you entering your magnetic feminine era, your magnetic feminine aura or energy, and it's going to just cause nothing to happen or bad things to happen potentially, more damage, more hurt, more pain. So there's no ugly emotions. There are never any ugly emotions. There are only ugly behaviors. Again, the emotions are beautiful. That is your feminine energy. Good emotions and bad emotions, the joy and the gratitude and the happiness and the bliss, as well as the sadness and the anger and the anxiety and the frustration. Those are all your beautiful feminine flow. That is the rainbow of your emotions, the cycle of the weather, the cycle of the tides. The feminine energy is like the universe. It is the flow of energy. It is the flow of of matter and the weather and the cyclical nature of nature. It's your period. It is the monthly hormone cycle. It is all of that. That is your feminine range. That is your feminine energy, which will attract a man if it's used in the right way. Those emotions are beautiful, but monitored emotions or not having responsibility for your emotions, that can do damage. And that's when you can become the wounded animal and start to lash out at a man by sending a text message such as, I can't be around somebody who isn't treating me the way I need to be treated. So respectfully, I hope I never see you again, or I hope I'm going to block your number or something like that. Or if you actually are attacking him or insulting him back. And even if you think it might be respectful, if you're still coming from that energy, it could come across as you attacking him and being the wounded animal. So we want to avoid that. The emotions are beautiful because, again, this video is what not to do instead of when a man pulls away instead of chasing him. So we want to use your emotions responsibly. We want to process them. And then there are ways you can actually share your emotions with a man, which is what we call magnetic feminine communication. Because again, if your emotions are beautiful and if what a masculine man wants from you is actually your vulnerability, your femininity, your openness, your receptivity, those are all big components of feminine polarity, that is what's going to attract him back, likely. And so how do you actually communicate and show your heart to a man openly with trust and respect, even if you feel some sadness, some frustration, some anger? Magnetic feminine communication is the solution for that. And that's something we go into in a lot of depth in our coaching groups, in our courses, in our programs. And in fact, if that's something you really want to master, I'd highly recommend taking our free Magnetize Your Man quiz, which you can get by clicking the link in the comments or description below this video, where we can customize this for you and also show you some of our advanced principles and how to start applying magnetic feminine communication in your relationship to win a man back within 90 days, have him desiring you, loving you, craving you, devoting himself to you, even if he's already broken up with you. So again, click the link below to get that, or go to magnetizeyourman.com, which is our website, and you can get that free quiz there. So anyways, magnetic feminine communication. I want to give you some of the basic principles, if you don't know them already, of what we teach so that you can start to apply this with your man potentially. Now, the first one is being highly respectful to a man, because the deepest desires of the feminine is to be adored and cherished. The deepest desires of the masculine is to be trusted and respected. So if you can show a man trust and respect, even if you feel he may not deserve it, and to start giving him some of that unconditional trust and respect, you can often shift the relationship where he starts wanting to give you unconditional love and devotion. So it's scary at first and it takes some courage, but having the right support, having the right scripts to do that can help you. And so, so that unconditional trust and unconditional respect is going to be a big key to start drawing him close. Some ways you can do that with your communication would be basic principles like asking a man for permission, asking him for help, sharing your emotions vulnerably, sharing your feelings vulnerably, using I statements. So some of these principles will help you right away. So for example, how you can use this with a man, asking permission and asking for help, you can simply ask him for a phone call. If a man is pulling away, as long as you're respectful, you can still make requests. If you really want to connect with him again, if you're feeling sad, if you have some emotions you want to discuss with him and have him help you with it, you can ask for that. And you can say something like, can I ask if we can talk on the phone? Or can I ask if we can talk in person? It's asking permission, so it's very respectful. It's leading with your feminine energy, but you're also in that moment showing you are high value because you are asking for what you want. You are putting your desires out there, but you're doing it in a respectful way so that a man can then hear your desires and hear your feminine longing, your feminine yearning for help, for that knight in shining armor, and that he could potentially step into that role and give you that help and provide, which is a masculine role. Give to you, make you happy, help you in some way, be the hero. So even as something as simple as him saying yes to getting on the phone with you can be his way of providing, which will feel good to him. And now he's starting to invest into the relationship. Now he's starting to put some energy into the relationship. So that's a great thing you can use when a man starts to pull away, an easy one. And then the key is, what do you do when you're on the call with him? If he says, sure, yeah, we could talk. He may call you right then, or you could say sure, and then you could say, okay, what time? Great, what time works well for you? You can set up a time, and then you can call him then, or he can call you then. It's not that big of a deal. Either way, you're getting on the phone, which is the most important thing, because here's another powerful lesson that you need to learn if you're having issues with a man pulling away, if that's happened to you in the past or is happening now. You want to avoid texting. If you're texting too much with a man and you have long novels of texting and there's a lot of back and forth, but there's not a lot of in-person or on the phone conversations, that's going to be an issue. Because the more that you are texting with a man, the more you are reducing his urgency to want to see you in person or to want to talk with you on the phone, which is where most progress happens in a relationship. Progress in a relationship and actually building a foundation and moving a relationship forward does not usually happen over texting. In fact, what we often see with the thousands of women who approach us and join our courses and our programs and our coaching to get help and master their relationships and master magnetic feminine polarity, magnetic feminine communication, is they have often been doing the opposite, where they are texting so much that the relationship is now in a downward spiral, where there's miscommunication, where there is not a lot of connection, there's not a lot of polarity. Because here's the other thing. A man can't really feel your heart and your vulnerability and your feminine energy and your emotions through texting. He's just looking at numbers and letters on a screen. That's not often going to help a man to feel your vulnerable, open, feminine heart, your openness, which is so attractive and such a turn on for a man. And so that's not typically going to happen over texting. Yeah, you can have maybe a little bit of flirtiness and checking in with each other, maybe even some sexy, whatever, banter photos or whatever you have been sending to guys. But that's not really necessarily going to be that vulnerable, energetic connection that'll happen over text, because it's just hard. Your emotions are primarily communicated through your body language, your body, and your voice tone. And if a man can't get that through the texting, through just numbers and letters on a screen, he's not going to be able to feel your feminine energy, and he's likely not going to have that same level of attraction and interest in you. Maybe just to hook up and maybe to have sex, but not from an emotional place of deep devotion and love. So in order to solve that, you want to get on the phone. You want to get in person. You want to have that opportunity to actually use what we teach you and use magnetic feminine polarity and communication to have him feel your feminine energy, which is your heart, which is your emotions, which is your vulnerability. So that's why asking for a call is so powerful, or asking for a meeting in person can be so powerful, because it's respectful. It allows him to start leading. It allows him to say yes, to give to you, and to move the relationship forward if he chooses to. Because some men may not choose to. He may say no. He may not respond. But at least you put yourself out there. At least you asked. And then that kind of shows you what kind of man he is. If a man isn't even willing to get on the phone with you, I'm sorry to tell you this, but he's likely not having that much care for you at all, really. And or he's a broken man, meaning that there's a population of men, there's a certain percentage that are deeply broken because of trauma, because of wounding, because of mental issues, emotional issues, narcissist, sociopath, deeply avoidant attachment styles, other forms of damage and emotional issues. And he's just not capable of it. He's not capable of being a good man, a good partner, and leading you well, and leading the relationship well, like in a dance. So either way, the result is the same. Either way, if you're looking at the result is he's not showing care for your heart when you're asking respectfully for a phone call or whatever you're asking for help for, or asking for help with, asking his opinion on something, asking for his advice with something, which is all you leading from feminine energy. You're asking for help. You're going to the dance and saying, will you dance with me? And it's up to him to say, yeah, I want to dance. Let's go. Or like he's coming up to take you and lead you on the dance floor and give you an amazing time. Or he's not. So the result is either, is he showing care for your heart, or is he not showing care for your heart? Is he providing for you? Is he giving you help and being your hero? Or is he not providing for you? Is he asking for a mommy? Is he wanting you to do things for him? Is he wanting you to pay his bills? Or is he wanting you to chase him? That's him being in his feminine, or being a broken man, or not showing care for your heart. And that's a no-no. That means he's a man you should not be continuing with, unfortunately. You should be walking away and letting it go. You may have to. Now, before you get to that point, I would recommend using our 90-day challenge and making sure he has enough space, if this is a man you've seen for a while, to really adjust to you using magnetic feminine communication, magnetic feminine polarity to draw him in, because some men are just not used to it and he doesn't know how to respond. And so he may need a period of time, which we'll help you with, we'll teach you to give him that space to step into his healthy masculine energy and show care for your heart. But that's still one of the basics of where it starts, is asking for help, engaging him in that way, being respectful, being trusting of him. And you may have to ask several times. You may have to ask in different ways. We have different text messages, like we have our 7-word relationship revival text message that we teach our women in our courses and coaching, which is how to get a man to come back who's broken up with you already, who's clearly rejected you. So there's different ways to engage him that can spark the interest back and get him to start engaging, that you can get onto a phone call or into meeting in person again. And then you can progress the relationship from there. It just may take some time. It may take approaching it from different angles. So these are some of the basics of what you want to start practicing when a man does pull away rather than chasing him. Now, some of the inner aspects that are also so key for you to know is, how do you manage the attachment to him, to any man, really? And so one of the principles that we teach and that I love is to commit to the process but detach from the outcome. And now this means that in this process, when you're using what we teach you, when you're allowing us to help you and coach you, you may want to be attached to him and want to be attached to an outcome and say, I need this man in my life. This is my guy. I can't have any other man. I won't be happy with any other man. And it's okay to have those feelings and have those thoughts. But what we want to practice is starting to redirect that energy back to yourself and back into the process, because ultimately you can't control him. Ultimately, you can't control anyone. All you can control is yourself. And in fact, the more you try to control him and the more you try to get him to do what you want him to do, the less likely he's going to be to do those things that you want him to do, because he's going to feel disrespected, because he's going to feel like you're trying to mother him and change him and tell him what to do and lead him by the hand like a little boy. And so unconsciously, a man will feel that you're putting him into feminine energy, and it's not going to feel good to him at some level, because every man has within his heart and his core a masculine instinct, and every woman has within her heart and her core a feminine instinct. And so you want to amplify his masculine instinct, make him more attracted to you, rather than putting him into a feminine energy and actually making him less attracted to you. We want to avoid that, which means stop trying to control him. Let go of the outcome. Detach. We don't know what's going to happen with him. We can't control it. All we can control is yourself and how you show up in the relationship. So I recommend using this affirmation, writing it down right now. Commit to the process, but detach from the outcome. Commit to the process, but detach from the outcome. I got this from Wayne Dyer years ago. I actually saw him speak in San Francisco right before he died. But it's an amazing phrase and it's an amazing principle to help you to say, well, what do I do with all this anxiety? What do I do with all this energy that I have, attachment towards him? I'm an anxious attachment style. I need to have, I need to have security. I want to have this person in my life. Well, here's what you do. You take that energy and you put it into the process. You put it into investing in yourself, making your life better, learning new skills, learning new principles, learning new habits, just like what you're doing here. You're already doing it right now. You're committing to your process rather than to him. You can't control him, but you're investing in yourself right now by listening to me, listening to this video, learning these principles and a better way of doing things. You're investing in your own education and your own knowledge, your own skills. So I commend you for that. Pat yourself on the back, because you're already doing that. Now it's about continuing that process, continuing that journey to invest and make yourself into the best, most magnetic, queenly woman you could be, because it's all about being the queen. Rather than the doormat or the bitch, it's about being the queen that attracts a high-quality man to you and makes him want to fall in love, be deeply attracted and desiring of you, and devote himself and commit to you long-term, for life. So you put the energy into the process, learning these skills, because a lot of what we teach you here as well is also like learning a new language. It's like learning a new dance. It takes some time to get the steps right and to learn how to properly communicate with men and interact in a way that you've probably never learned before, because our society simply doesn't teach it, unfortunately. In fact, they often teach the opposite. They teach women how to be boss babes and how to be in their masculine energy, and they teach men how to be vulnerable and relax into their feelings and be weak and play video games and be distracted and do porn and not be a healthy masculine hero man. But by us shifting you and shifting your energy, you could actually shift the energy of your man into his healthy masculine, where now he wants to devote and he becomes that strong, powerful, loving, devoted man that you want him to be for you. So Yeah, so basically you're committing to the process. You're doing things that fill you up, that make you bring joy into your life, that make you happy. Exercise, nutrition, drinking lots of water, getting lots of sleep, going out in nature, getting some sunlight, hanging around friends and family that lift you up, finding fun activities on meetup.com, eventbrite.com, facebook.com/events, and Craigslist, Google, all those places you can find local events, local activities, hobbies, groups, classes, dancing that are in your area that you can invest back into yourself rather than putting that energy onto him and saying, how do I get him back? How do I try to control him? You use what we're teaching you and you commit to that process, and that will draw him back more than anything else. And if it doesn't, then I would be surprised, but then he would likely be a broken man at that point, or he's just too deeply in his feminine. We can't save him, and you have to let him go at that point. Otherwise, you're going to continue to suffer. But likely we won't get to that place, especially when you use our advanced principles and trainings, because he's just going to be so enthralled by you, so compelled by you, because you're being the ultimate thing that he wants, which is a healthy, open, vulnerable, respectful, trusting, magnetic, feminine, high-value woman. And that'll be the last thing I'll touch on today, which is so important as well, is to increase your sense of value. One of the big ways you increase your sense of value for yourself and for him is by believing that you deserve it, that you're worthy, having high standards, what kind of relationship you desire. And what I would recommend is actually a very powerful principle, is to focus more on the relationship that you want ultimately, what you want that to look like and how you want to feel, rather than the specific man that you may be looking at right now or interested in right now. Because when you focus on the relationship, it helps you to raise your standards to that, rather than if you're focused on the man and he's down here, you have to ultimately lower your standards to him. So raise your standards to the relationship you want rather than lower your standards to him and what he's currently at. Because you want to keep your standards high and lift him into those standards rather than lowering your standards to meet him and ultimately not being really happy or fulfilled. And that's why being in your healthy magnetic feminine energy is going to be a key to that. And so partly what also goes into increasing your value is knowing what you want, knowing what that relationship looks like, how you want to feel. What is the man doing? The man, not the specific man, but the man that you want to be with long term. What is he doing for you? The man that you could have in your life that could be who that placeholder is. How does he treat you? Is he calling you regularly? Is he texting you regularly? Is he buying gifts for you? Is he planning dates? Is he paying for the dates? Is he planning a future with you? Is he investing into that future? Is he doing everything in his power to make you happy? Is he listening to you? Is he asking questions? Is he wanting to make you happy in all levels, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, sexually, if you're at that level in a committed relationship? And being clear on that's what you want and that's what you will have. That's what you deserve. And it's just the usual. That's just normal for you. Why wouldn't you have that? That's just the way of the universe. The way of the universe is relationships are simple, fun, and easy. Dating is simple, fun, and easy. And why wouldn't you have an amazing man in your life who caters to you and takes care of you? Because that's just the way it was meant to be. That's how you want to approach your life, and that's how you want to approach your relationships and your dating, is that's the norm for you. And it's actually highly unusual if a man isn't texting you back, if a man isn't caring for you. Like, that's strange. That's unusual. That's weird. Like, why would that be happening? It's very strange. And that means there's probably something broken with that man if it's not happening. And of course, you could share your feelings around that using magnetic feminine communication and I statements such as, I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling some anxiety now, or I'm feeling some frustration. Could I ask for some help with that? Or could you help? I don't know what to do. Could I ask what you think about that? So you're sharing your feelings, you're sharing your emotions with him in a way where he understands it and he wants to learn more and he wants to help with those emotions, because that's the hero instinct. So doing basic principles like that can help to encourage him and inspire him into being that man for you. So being vulnerable, being that high value woman, and being a woman who does speak up, because a woman who speaks up is proving to herself and proving to him that you are high value. Because here's the thing, a low value woman will stay silent. A low value woman will never share if there's an issue. I mean, of course, if she's perfectly happy and content, she may not speak. She may not need to. But if there ever is an emotion that's coming up for you, if you want to have a man in your life and if you want to have help in your life, you want to share. You want to ask for help. You want to share your feelings. You want to be open with him so that he can understand and empathize what's going on with you and be inspired into that and want to help. Because a man doesn't always know, especially the more masculine he is, doesn't always know what's going on for you. And he's not that attuned to emotions sometimes. He's more in his planning zone. He's in his masculine, thinking about the future and thinking about what's next and how to get outcomes and how to lead and how to solve problems, what problems need to be solved, and his next moves. So that's the masculine energy, but you can help him to attune to his own emotions and to your emotions through your openness and feminine vulnerability that will allow him to also understand and be able to help and feel like he's of service, feel like he's of value, and want to continue to do that more and more for you. So those are some basic principles, what to do instead of chasing a man. You're on the right track. I hope this helps. I look forward to helping you more with our advanced trainings and principles as well, with our free quiz, etc. Much love, and I will talk to you again very soon. Bye-bye.